Hi, cookbook friends. This is Katie, and I have Carrie here with me. And welcome to the Cookbook Divas podcast. You can find us on Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and at cookbookdivas.com if you want to read our blog. So thank you for joining us. Carrie, what are we going to discuss this week?
Well, this week we'll be digging into the brand new cookbooks that come out the second week of April 2021. It's slowing down a little bit because March was just crazy full of cookbook releases, which we are not complaining because we love cookbooks. But we have some categories we're going to chat about: beverages, renowned cooks, plant-based vegan and vegetarian, which we always have, of course, a couple gluten-free, a couple specialty cookbooks, including an outdoor cookbook. We're going to move into flavored butters. That was a sneak preview. Lots of good stuff. So stay tuned. And Katie's going to start us off in the beverage categories. Ooh, I'm thirsty already.
Well, you said butter, and then it was like thirsty and butter. Perfect combination. Okay, so the first cookbook that I'm going to be talking about is called Zero Proof 90 Non-Alcoholic Recipes for Mindful Drinking by
alcohol. Sorry.
Ramirez. Sorry. So there's 90 spirit-free cocktail recipes from leading mixologists around the country. Apparently, I don't know why, but alcohol-free bars and drinks are becoming a thing. I didn't know about the bars, but it's becoming a thing. It's the millennials.
Because I feel bad when I go out with pregnant friends and we want to see each other, but they don't want to sit there watching me gulp a whiskey that they're desperately wishing they could have some of. Yeah. And I do have alcoholic friends. And then my sister just doesn't like the taste of alcohol. Why is she going to hang out in a bar watching me drink? But if she can have a fancy foo-foo, I love it.
Yeah, it works. And, like I did dry January or dryuary, we call it. And then a lot of my friends do sober October. So kind of those sober months, sobriety months, I guess, is becoming a kind of a big thing. So these drinks would actually be kind of nice for, I don't know, just to have on hand, like you said. So that is Zero Proof 90 Non-Alcoholic Recipes for Mindful Drinking by Alva Ramirez. So what's on your list, Carrie?
Well, I have questions. Why would you pick Sober October when there's Oktoberfest and all the autumn ciders come out?
I never do Sober October, by the way, because in the Halloween, like that's like, nope, I'm just not doing it. But I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather do it in the spring, I guess. Prepare for, summer. Anyway.
So my next book is The Curious Bartender, Cocktails at Home, More Than 75 Recipes for Classic and Iconic Drinks by Tristan Stevenson. It comes out April 13, and it's an expert guide to setting up your home bar, which I need some help with because I have probably 40 bottles of random weird liqueurs, and I should probably just get rid of them at this point. Like, what is this weird Violette syrup? And I think I bought it because it was purple. Anyway, this has 75 cocktail recipes, and it covers many of the classics like mojitos, Manhattans, Negronis, and more. And I know how to make a Manhattan from scratch because I make one, or don't judge me, two every night almost. And I can make an old-fashioned, but I don't know exactly what a Negroni is. And now that I can't go to a bar every single night like I did pre-COVID, I need to drink at home and use up all my weird liqueurs. So that's The Curious Bartender, Cocktails at Home by Tristan Stevenson, April 13. What is your next beverage book, Katie?
It is Cannabis Drinks, Secrets to Crafting CBD and THC Beverages at Home by Jamie Evans. This comes out April 13. I am not a huge consumer of CBD or THC, but I do love the science behind it, and I know a lot of people are really getting into this because it is quite, also not being hungover is kind of a benefit for a lot of people.
Yes.
So Jamie is actually pretty well known. She was named one of Wine Enthusiast magazine's top 40 under 40 tastemakers in 2018. So she's been kind of in the mixology world for a bit. She's been featured in a lot of like Food and Wine, Entrepreneur magazine, Forbes, Cheddar TV, Wine Enthusiast, etc. So she really knows her drinks, but being able to do the whole CBD THC science is really interesting. So you get to learn about infusions. It doesn't just go through like faux cocktails. I don't want to call it a faux cocktail because it kind of is a cocktail. But they also talk about like juices and shakes and smoothies and coffees and teas even. So this is just an all-around cannabis drink cookbook. So that's really fascinating. That is Cannabis Drinks, Secrets to Crafting CBD and THC Beverages at Home by Jamie Evans, coming out April 13. I think you have one more cocktail book on your list.
This one sounds super fun. It's called Booze Cruise, a tour of the world's essential mixed drinks by Andre Darlington. Comes out May 4, and maybe I just think it's fun because it has the word cruise in it, and I'd love to go on a cruise, but I'm not going to risk being trapped on a cruise ship with coronavirus people. So
I don't know if you can.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know if you can go on a cruise right now.
Yeah. So I'll just have to take a virtual tour of the world. And one of the fun things about Booze Cruise is the chapters are separated up into continents.
Ooh.
And it's not just a cocktail book because they also have food pairing suggestions, and they spotlight 44 cities around the globe. And I need to work on my geography knowledge, as one of our past cookbook episodes proved, because I didn't know that Pakistan wasn't part of the Middle East. It's part of Asia. They describe this cookbook as a sloshy voyage, and the cities that you can tour through drinks are Amsterdam, Dublin, London, Madrid, Stockholm, Cape Town, Tangier, Delhi, Singapore, etc.
Oh.
And it's making me thirsty just looking through. There's a blueberry ginger bourbon sour. That's quite creative. A Hendrick's lemonade. That's not creative. Just pour it into the glass. But anyway, a gin cocktail, a Genever old-fashioned or Jennifer old-fashioned. And I don't know much about Africa and the Middle East because so many of those cultures don't drink for the last 100 years. So that is very, very curious to me. That's Booze Cruise by Andre Darlington. And do you have one more drink book to chat with us about?
Yes, I have one more. It is called From Scratch, Brew, Slow Down, Make Beer. I used to be able to drink beer before the celiac, and I loved beer. And
I'm sorry.
But I did get to learn a little bit about how to brew beer when I was, drinking beer. And it's really fascinating, again, similar to like the THC book or the cannabis books. It has a lot of science about brewing beer, what kinds of beer you can brew, even like the difference of flavor. It actually beer, different substitutes you can use. Like if you don't have a particular app, you can get a different one. You can, even alpha acid percentages, which if you're into beer brewing, like this is definitely a really cool book to look through. I'm trying to see if there's any really extra defining features, but it's really easy to navigate. Like they just kind of go through everything. You might need tools, some of the, like even how to make your own, it looks like insulation and chillers, stuff like that. It's really cool. So that is From Scratch, Brew, Slow Down, Make Beer by James Morton. And I'm going to transition into cookbook renowned cooks. And this next one, I've been really looking forward to. I cannot wait till I actually get it in my hands. It's called The Pepper Thai Cook Family Recipes from Everyone's Favorite Thai Mom by Pepper Teagan and Garrett Snyder. But Pepper Teagan is number one in this. She is Chrissy Teigen's mom, if you recognize Chrissy Teigen.
I
This
do
is
not. Who is Chrissy Teigen? Is she a cookbook author, or was she famous before?
she's an actress. She was in. I need to actually look up what she was in because I'm not and she's a model too. But she was in a couple TV shows. She was in the Fast and the Furious. I actually should know that. She was in Bring the Funny. Anyway, she's mostly known for being a model, and just if you see her face, you would actually know who she is.
Okay.
Like, she's
I'm
everywhere.
probably just old. That's
No, you're fine. So this is a authentically Thai cookbook. I struggle sometimes making Thai food. Like, pad Thai is so hard for me to make. I don't know why, and I've heard it from everywhere. But being able to get a cookbook from somebody that's been cooking Thai forever and it's authentic is really appealing to me. The photos are really fun, and Pepper Teagan has like a really like quirky, and she's just like it's like she's cooking next to you when you're going through this cookbook because she's just kind of fun and spunky. But it goes through some of your Thai favorites like chicken larp salad, a pad Thai, obviously for one, different curries. She even kind of goes through like ramen, which isn't exclusively Thai, the Thai version of it. You've got a crispy rice salad, a hot and sour soup. So there's a lot of really awesome recipes in here. It's number 1 in Thai cooking and food and wine. So I definitely highly recommend it. I'm going to get it. So you should get it. It's going to be awesome. Yay. So that is the Pepper Thai Cookbook by Pepper Teagan. What's on your list for renowned books?
I apparently have never heard of anybody on the planet because I've never heard of Jeff Morrow, and I might be saying his last name wrong. It could be Mauro. Anyway, it's Come On Over, 111 Fantastic Recipes for the Family That Cooks, Eats, and Laughs Together by Jeff Morrow, and it's coming out April 13. He is a co-host of Food Network's The Kitchen, and he grew up in a big Italian-American family in Chicago. And so he shares his hilarious family stories and crowd-pleasing recipes because his family always had relatives just coming over from everywhere, just eating in his house. And so this helps you with that. And I actually don't have a lot of people coming over during coronavirus to eat at my house. And our family in Seattle here is kind of spread out. We're all over the place. It's hard to get people to gather. But I used to host lots of parties for friends and people that have just moved to Seattle and don't know anybody. So I definitely need to check this cookbook out. Some of the chapters are, the names are very witty. There's a chapter called Early Bird Gets the Brunch. Come on over. There's a chapter called Hey Bro, we're watching the game. Come on over and pick up some ice on the way. That's totally me every time I host a party. Bring ice! Come on over, I'm throwing an island party. For example, crispy plantain chips and takeout-style Chinese spare ribs. There's a chapter called Do You Smell That Meat Smoke? That's right, it's coming from my backyard. Come on over. With smoked Cheez-Its and smoked honey-glazed cedar plank salmon. And there's a chapter called Sarah's Baking. Come on over. And she's baking sea salt pecan chocolate chip cookies and no-bake cookie butter pie, which means she's not really baking. Anyway, that's Come On Over, 111 Fantastic Recipes for the Family That Cooks, Eats, and Laughs Together by Jeff Morrow. What's next from you, Katie?
It is a beautiful book called Monk, Light and Shadow on the Philosopher's Path. So I didn't think, and this is by Yoshihiro Imai. I did not actually think this was a cookbook. I passed it multiple times while I was doing my research, and I was like, it is a cookbook. It has 80 Japanese recipes organized into 4 chapters that are all the seasons, so fall, winter, summer, etc. So Yoshihiro is the chef of the restaurant Monk in Kyoto. He opened it in 2015. It is a omakase style restaurant, which means, so omakase, and I might be totally butchering this, it's a Japanese phrase, so it's like I'll leave it up to you is kind of what it means. So it's kind of like the chefs actually will serve people whatever they think they'd want, or
And
like
I'm scared of that since I'm vegetarian and I don't want to walk into a restaurant and be a bitch and be like, omakase, but don't give me meat or fish.
right. Yeah, exactly. So I personally like it because I mean, obviously for the gluten restrictions, that would be a hard thing to do, but I love experiment. I think it's a great way to experiment. I do always ask people kind of when I do go out to eat, hey, what do you recommend? Because I don't like having the same thing, and I think I'm actually weird in that regard. Lots of people have the same foods. So,
well, good for you for not being boring and stuck in your way.
well, I could be difficult too, but anyway. The pictures are really beautiful in this cookbook. I feel like this is more of like an art coffee book or coffee table book because it's so pretty. Unless if you're a very seasoned chef and you want to kind of dive into really elaborate and elegant cooking. So that is Monk, Light and Shadow on a Philosopher's Path by Yoshihiro Imai. And that comes out April 14. What is next on your famous chef book list?
Well, this one is called Summer, a Cookbook, Inspired Recipes for Lazy Days and Magical Nights. I love that concept. Mm-hmm. It's by Marnie Hanel and Jen Stevenson. And I love summer. I can't say it's my favorite season because they're all my favorite seasons, but I am kind of partial to the long days. You know, it's sunny till 10 and it's warm. And here in Seattle, it doesn't get hot for more than like a week.
Yeah.
And I love entertaining outside, and I'm definitely lazy because all I do is sit on my chaise lounge, sipping a drink and reading a book. So I'm very tempted by this cookbook, except it doesn't actually have any photography, which is challenging for me. Everything is painted. So that might be a lovely gift book for people that love artistic, art.
Yeah.
Some of the recipes are Beach Dogs 3 Ways, Project Paella, 7 snappy skewers, 6 sensational ice cream sandwiches, 5-minute frosé. You had me at frosé. There's things like a grilled shrimp Louis salad, spicy pineapple spears, and landlubber's lobster rolls. It sounds really fun, and I love summer. I'm not so sure about the lack of photographs, but that makes it maybe quaint and charming, and I should be more open-minded. The author of Summer, a Cookbook is Marnie Hanel and Jen Stevenson. It comes out April 13. What's next on your list?
This is the final book from well-renowned cookbooks or cookbook authors and chefs. This is From Scratch, Sourdough, Slow Down, Make Bread. I just realized I had 2 that sound the same. Slow down, make food. That's telling me something. Anyway, it is by James Morton, who's actually a finalist from the Great British Bake Off. So I'm actually looking forward to this because he really goes into depth with how, like, even the flowers, like how each flower actually looks. He has a picture on Amazon that has everything side by side. I had no idea. Even rice flour and white bleached flour look different. You can kind of tell. It's just interesting. So it goes into more of it's very technical for how to make bread. I mean, and as we all know, making bread is incredibly techniul. So
which is why I don't do it, and I go to the store and buy it. Yay!
Right, all of us basically do. So it's got some charts, it's got pictures, it's got diagrams even. So it's for people that want to learn how to make bread and kind of show off and have these awesome loaves and even be able to show off their bread knowledge. This is definitely a cookbook you should pick up. He also did a previous book called Brilliant Bread that won the Guild of Food Writers Cookbook of the Year. So he's pretty, like, even if he didn't win the Great British Bake Off, he's done well for himself. So that's From Scratch, Sourdough, Slow Down, Make Bread by James Morton. And that is our list for well-renowned authors. And we're now going into plant-based, vegan, vegetarian cookbooks. Hooray!
We each have one to present to you. And mine is from Prevention Magazine, if any of you subscribe to that. It's called Prevention, the Plant-Based Plan, Transform the Way You Eat, 100 plus easy recipes. Comes out April 13. And what I like about this approach, although I am a vegetarian, their plan prioritizes plant-based foods but does not require you to cut out meat. There's tips and information throughout to help you with a plant-based diet. This could be great for people that just want to expand their meatless Mondays into maybe meatless Tuesdays or a little bit less meat Fridays, etc. There's 3 eating plans that help you choose your commitment to plant-based eating. You can have 1 day or 3 meals. Others can challenge themselves to 5 days or 15 meals. So, like most cookbooks, there's recipes for breakfast, soups and salads, grains and beans, alternative proteins, and of course, vegetables and sides. I don't see anything about dessert. That's Prevention, the Plant-Based Plan, coming out April 13. And what is your plant-based cookbook you'd like to chat about?
Mine is by the Cider Mill Press. It's called Vegetables, over 100 vegetable forward recipes. So usually Cider Mill Press does very easy, approachable recipes. Their dishes are very tasty as well. There are 100 seasonal recipes to kind of, it's more veg forward. So it's not like here, again, the same thing kind of how the plant-based plan is, the one above. It doesn't necessarily require you to cut out meat, but mostly here, let's, incorporate more meat. It has a variety of dishes from all around the world. So you're not confined to just one flavor profile, which I really enjoy. And they like to kind of treat meat as a flavor enhancer versus like the main ingredient.
Oh,
which
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's important because I think that's actually what we do. People that enjoy meat just kind of want to enhance the flavors, because every time people talk about vegetable dishes, they're like, oh, it doesn't have a lot of flavor. So I like that message. The photos are massive and they're very pretty in this cookbook. So I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something a little easier and approachable for vegetable forward recipes. So that is Vegetables, over 100 vegetable forward recipes by Cider Mill Press. That's coming out April 20th. And now I'm going to transition to the cookbook I need because it's gluten-free. It's called Surprise, It's Gluten-Free. Entrees.
I like surprises.
I know. Yay. Entrees, breads, and desserts. So delicious. You won't know what's missing. So as this book has actually made more apparent to me, is that gluten-free is becoming a really huge market. Like a lot of people, even just celiac, 77 million people have celiac worldwide.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So it's not a rarity as it was before. So learning how to make things gluten-free is becoming more and more, I guess, important. It really is, because that doesn't include like allergies. So
could you find a better club to join next time, though, young lady? That doesn't sound like a fun club of people to join.
Right. I know. I will next time. It'll be only cakes. Cake consumption forever. So this cookbook has a really fun design. It's got, the cover is just like pancakes. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with pancakes. Pancakes are perfect. But they have recipes like fish and chips, which I actually indulged in a while and I would love to. We've got cinnamon rolls, which is also something I haven't really indulged in either because, yeast and it's just gluten filled. So, this is a really awesome and helpful cookbook. It goes through oils and fats and kind of how that you can incorporate all these things to your different kinds of flours and pastas and milk. And it's a great cookbook for anybody that is gluten-free. So that is Surprise, It's Gluten-Free by Jennifer Fisher, coming. Oh no, it's coming out July 20th.
Well, that's okay. We'll just have to wait a little longer.
I know. All right, what's next on your list, Carrie?
This one makes me smile. It's called How to Eat with One Hand, Recipes and Other Nourishment for New and Expectant Parents by Christine Flynn and Emma Knight. Comes out April 13. And even though I've never given birth, I have certainly eaten hundreds or thousands of meals, bouncing a baby on my lap, trying to entertain them while I'm trying to feed them and me. And you were not one of those babies, but your sister was.
Oh.
So
I wasn't? Oh.
No, I only met you when you were 2.5 and you were big enough to sit and feed yourself.
Oh.
We're cousins, for those of you wondering.
Yes.
And I'm the old one. That's fine. She's the young one. How to Eat with One Hand was born of candid conversations between renowned chef Christine Flynn and Greenhouse Beverage Company co-founder Emma Knight when motherhood took them by surprise within a few months of one another. Woo! You definitely have to learn the art of eating with one hand when you're feeding the baby. And what we like about this cookbook is it's about nourishing the mother. I've seen so many moms sit and feed their kids and never themselves, and then the food gets cold and the kids run to play and the mom has to clean up the food and like, wait, when do I get to eat and my food's cold?
Yep.
So, satisfy your cravings, says the publisher, with must-haves like a very good hamburger, spicy nudes, and nudes, as in noodles for short. That's a little too cutesy. I'm sorry. That's kind of silly. Chocolate sheet cake with sour cream frosting. And this sentence is so sweet. Give your future sleep-deprived self a gift with satisfying make-ahead meals like white beans and greens, fairy godmother minestrone, and chocolate chip banana bread. That's really sweet.
Aww.
That's How to Eat with One Hand, Recipes and Other Nourishment for New and Expectant Parents by Christine Flynn and Emma Knight. What's next on your list?
The next cookbook on my list is the Ultimate Outdoor Cookbook, All-Day Meals and Drinks for Getting Outside and Camping, Backpacking, or Backyard Entertaining. So as summer is, obviously approaching, and thankfully, hopefully pandemic will be reducing by summertime, we might be able to do like big camping trips or, barbecues in the backyard. I'm really excited because I also like summer.
Yeah, I supposedly can have 50 people in my backyard as of next week, but I'm like, I never wanted to have 50 people in my tiny backyard.
Oh my
and
goodness.
I'm sure my neighbors would be like, could you leave some of the on-street parking for us too? But I'm excited to get back in the backyard and start entertaining maybe up to 10 friends with probably still some masks on.
Right. Yeah, no, I think exactly. And I think this cookbook is designed specifically for that because it is, obviously pandemic friendly. They're trying to encourage us to still be able to do our small gatherings. So it's not limited to barbecuing. It has breakfasts, desserts. It even has alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. So it's filled with recipes, over 100 wonderful recipes. Like and they're not confined again to like burgers and chicken wings. We've got like blueberry skillet scones with lemon glaze, which I don't know how you'd be doing that outside, but this is why I need this book. Spicy grilled shrimp on avocado toast, Dutch oven strawberry rhubarb cobbler, mimosa sangria, lots of really good stuff over here. So this cookbook kind of talks about cooking over a grill or a live fire, smokers, foil packs, Dutch ovens, cast iron pans, planchas, etc. So if you have any of those tools, we all have fire. So we can learn how to actually build and work with those kinds of tools outside and still have our little gatherings. So that's the Ultimate Outdoor Cookbook, All-Day Meals and Drinks for Getting Outside and Camping, Backpacking, or Backyard Entertaining, coming out April 13th by Linda Lai. What is next for you, Carrie?
Here's a book called Fermented Foods, The History and Science of a Microbiological Wonder by Christine Baumgarthuber, or Baumgarthuber, not sure. Sorry, Christine. The cover reminds me of the 1970s cookbooks my mom had that are kind of brown cardboard with hand-drawn veggies. Anyway, I almost took a fermented foods cooking class at PCC a couple summers ago, and then I decided I didn't want to spend a summer sunny day inside a classroom, so I didn't, and I kind of wish I had. This is not quite a cookbook, but it does have recipes. It's the history of fermented foods. It starts with brews and wines and moves on to dairy, bread, and more. And I'm not sure I've thought a lot about what fermented foods are, because I always think, well, is that pickles? No, that's not fermented. That's just pickled. But cheese can be fermented, and cured meats. And a lot of Asian cultures have fermented foods. So I think I do need to grab this from the library and check it out and flip through it, at least if I don't have time to read it cover to cover, so I can know more about the history of fermented foods and sound more intelligent when I talk about the topic. This book is Fermented Foods, The History and Science of a Microbiological Wonder by Christine Baumgarthuber, April 8th.
Awesome. The next more specialized cookbook on my list is another grilling kind of cookbook. It's called The Griddle Cookbook. Delicious flavor-packed recipes for flat-top grilling by Loic Hano. It comes out April 13. These meals, when I saw the cover, I was not expecting the things that I would see inside. That's not to be offensive, but the recipes inside look incredibly elegant, especially just using a flat-top grill. Everything looks really, really tasty. And they even go through kind of what I personally would find cooking duck breasts. That intimidates me because you have to mark it and then grill it on the skin and just all kinds of stuff. And you have to make sure it's perfect, and it freaks me out a little bit. But they actually go through, they go through details on how to make certain dishes, especially more high-end dishes on the flat top grill. So it's great for beginner and professional chefs. So you can actually grow with this cookbook, which is something I really like. There's only 40 flavor-packed recipes from around the world. So you're not confined to just one place, but you still only get about 40 recipes. This has not just outdoor recipes, but you can also utilize this inside. So that's really helpful. And you can use it all year round. So that is the Griddle Cookbook, Delicious Flavor-Packed Recipes for Flat Top Grilling by Loic Hano, coming out April 13th. I believe, yes, you've got something next, Carrie, right?
Yes, I'm very excited about this. It is Sprouts, Shoots, and Microgreens, Tiny Plants to Grow and Eat in Your Home Kitchen by Lena Wallentinson. Comes out April 20, and I have an herb garden inside my guest room window. I currently have 5 miniature citrus trees. Ooh. And darned if it doesn't take those miniature lemons and limes a year to ripen. But the little clementines and little mandarins, which I use for cocktails when I feel like having a citrusy cocktail or a margarita, those ripen quite often. And so I have this giant south-facing sunny window, and the citrus trees are in it. And then I have herbs and basil, etc., although I always forget to harvest and use the basil. But I need to remember that. But it's hard when you don't have fresh tomatoes at the same time, and I'm probably not growing tomatoes indoors in Seattle.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of growing green things in the winter and spring to harvest right there, right near the kitchen, grab it, start cooking with it. So this cookbook is very intriguing to me. You learn how to grow and cook microgreens. It's a modern, clean-looking cookbook. They claim it's easy to grow and utilize in food. The author of the book called Plants You Can't Kill recommends this book, so that's a good good sign. Right? I'm not saying I have a green thumb. I definitely kill plants, but I try. So that is Sprouts, Shoots, and Microgreens, Tiny Plants to Grow and Eat in Your Home Kitchen by Lena Wallentinson, coming out April 20. What's next for you, Katie?
This is a book I'm really curious about. It's called The Zero Waste Chef, Plant for Recipes and Tips for a Sustainable Kitchen and Planet. This is by at Zero Waste Chef. So if you want to look at this person's blog, her name is Anne-Marie Bonneau. Bonneau. Sorry, Anne-Marie. So she has lived plastic-free since 2011.
Whoa.
That's something I really would love to do. Like, I go through So sandwich bags, for instance, I'm realizing that I use way more of than I really want to use. So trying to figure out how to reduce on, we use so much plastic
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. So I really want to learn how to do that. But I love the fact learning how to, even composting has been something that we're starting to do more now,
Oh,
but
good for
learning how
you.
to actually cook all of the everything and have it actually taste good, and that would be super helpful. So this cookbook has 75 vegan and vegetarian recipes in here that is almost totally zero waste. So most of these recipes include an end of the recipe note on how to use up your perishable ingredients that you've had, which I actually really appreciate, so that you're not necessarily wasting everything.
I need that. I need that.
Right. So this is a really cool cookbook, and you can also check out their blog at Zero Waste Chef. So that is the Zero Waste Chef Cookbook, Plant Forward Recipes and Tips for a Sustainable Kitchen and Planet by Anne-Marie Bonneau. What is next on your list, Carrie?
This cookbook is a cute little one by Ryland Peters and Small, one of our favorite cookbook publishers. It's called Mortar and Pestle, 65 delicious recipes for sauces, rubs, marinades, and more. And I have to confess, I consider myself having a very well-stocked kitchen. Not that I'm awesome, but I am a shopaholic. But I don't own a mortar and pestle. And this cookbook says you can use it for everything from cracking peppercorns and bruising fresh herbs, which I do with a mezzalune, to making sauces such as pesto, which I do with a fork in a bowl, squishing them up. So probably I'm doing it wrong, but it works. And you can also use them to make marinades, spice pastes, and dry rubs. Now, I'm not making a lot of dry rubs since I'm a vegetarian. I don't need to dry rub my tofu. But I would like to make spice paste because then you can develop the flavor and really layer it in your soups and stews, etc. So I'm a little curious about this one. And not everybody knows how to use a mortar and pestle or what you would use it for. I don't think it's just me. The chapters are organized by small bites, salads and soups, poultry, fish, vegetarian, desserts, and cocktails. And I guess I would use a mortar and pestle to bruise up some mint for my mojito, which I'm suddenly thirsty for because it's sunny in Seattle, a rarity in March.
Oh, now I'm thirsty.
Yeah. That's Mortar and Pestle, 65 delicious recipes for sauces, rubs, marinades by Ryland Peters and Small. What would you like to bring to us next?
I would like to bring this Brussels sprouts cookbook, over 60 delicious recipes to sprout about, by Heather Thomas, to everybody's attention. Coming out April 13th. I love Brussels sprouts, but I only use them my favorite thing is bacon and Brussels sprouts. And I'm sure everybody here is like, yes, bacon and sprouts. Unless if you're vegetarian, I'm sorry, Carrie. But when
bacon.
You grill,
I can have bacon and Brussels sprouts.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I just love crispy, just grilling the Brussels sprouts and getting them all crispy and delicious, and just that in itself is super good. But I would love to expand my knowledge on Brussels sprouts. And if you are somebody like that wants to just kind of find out more about this foreign little tiny cabbage, then this is the cookbook for you. It goes through all kinds of interesting recipes that are Brussels sprout oriented. Brussels sprouts are incredibly nutritious, but Heather Thomas in particular, if you want to check her out, has done specialty cookbooks about not just Brussels sprouts, but avocado, sweet potatoes, interesting, fruits and vegetables, getting into the details of them, and then creating recipes. So that is the Brussels Sprouts Cookbook, over 60 delicious recipes to sprout about, by Heather Thomas. What is next for you, Carrie?
Well, we forgot to put this vegan cookbook up in the vegan vegetarian section, but I don't mind bringing it up here. It's Live Bee's Easy Everyday 100 sheet pan, 1 pot, and 5 ingredient vegan recipes. You had me at sheet pan, you had me at 1 pot, and you had me at 5 ingredients. Yay! But I have to point out I am a vegetarian that doesn't eat vegan, so if I had a dish here, like the cover of the book shows some beautiful roasted or sauteed zucchini with tomatoes, I might add some butter to that. I might sprinkle some cheese on top. And I don't mean almond cheese, but that's me personally. The author is Olivia Bierman. Comes out April 12. It's cooked with 5 ingredients or in one pot or in a sheet pan. That is exactly what I need in my busy, crazy life with a limited kitchen. So thank you for writing this, Olivia Bierman. It's Live Bees, easy every day, 100 sheet pan, 1 pot, and 5 ingredient vegan recipes. And I have 1 cookbook left to chat about, so I'm going to hand the mic over to Katie for her next one.
Sure. And I have one last cookbook to talk about. It's called Home Farm Cooking. Comes out April 14th. This is by John Pawson and Catherine Pawson. John Pawson's a pretty famous British architectural designer who's big into minimalism, and that really shows with this cookbook. So it's beautiful. Everything's very elegant and clean and crisp, and you kind of get a glimpse into not only like their life a little bit, like, you know, the table setting and the outside of the house kind of thing, but these too, like, they're not trying to fancy by giving us, you know, all of these decorations outside the plate, bowls. Here is the bowl with the food inside. So very minimalist and clean. The recipes really make only take, you know, maybe a half an hour to prepare, like cook. And they're just stunning and beautiful recipes. This is their second cookbook, actually, that they've made. So, and I'm trying to find what the first cookbook was, but this cookbook has 100 dishes that they actually have and eat at home. They share their fundamental cooking knowledge and kind of how they entertain and, you know, what they do for their space. So that's Home Farm Cooking by John Pawson and Catherine, coming out April 14th, 2021. This is your last cookbook, Carrie. What is it?
Well, first I'm going to smash my microphone because I got so excited, because it's the Flavored Butters Cookbook, How to Make Them, Shape Them, and Use Them as Spreads, Toppings, and Sauces by Lucy Wasserfire. And I have to confess, every time I've made flavored butter in the past, I use this very unusual technique of putting heavy whipping cream and salt in a cocktail shaker and doing my exercises, shaking it for about 20 minutes. Because then I could put my flavored herbs in there, but that's probably not the best way to do it. So I'm looking forward to learning how to make compound butters the proper way.
I'm trying. Carrie, that has to take like a lot of effort.
Well, I have no upper body arm strength, so it's a good way to kind of give myself a workout during the pandemic.
That sounds really hard. Anyway, sorry.
So the hardcover came out back in 2013, but they've just released the paperback on April 13, 2021, coming up, and you can get it on Kindle. And you can learn to make shallot herb butter, rosemary roasted garlic butter, mint butter, caramelized onion butter, chipotle butter, kimchi butter, orange honey butter, roseberry butter. Hey, I like the idea of that. And it's just a cute little cookbook. I probably wouldn't give it as a gift because it's kind of a one-topic specialty cookbook, but I might need to own it because I do like, if I'm not going to bake the bread myself because I'm lazy and I'm serving a dinner party, I will go to the store and buy fresh baked bread, but then I'd like to customize it with flavored butter that I actually put some effort into. So we hope you enjoyed our rundown of the wonderful cookbooks coming out the second week of April 2021. We apologize for our coughing. It is pollen season here in Seattle. We don't even have allergies, and it's so bad that we sound like we have colds. Stay tuned. Our episodes publish on Fridays. And please follow us, Cookbook Divas, on our website. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube, if you prefer any of those to the others. And we also are hosting some virtual classes for the next couple months. Check them out on our website. They're free. Thank you so much for listening.